Hi, this is Maneesh Vijaya from PM Pulse, the very pulse of project management, and you are watching video series on PM Ninja. Now, what has happened is a lot of times when I conduct webinars, people ask me a lot of different kind of questions which may not have been part of that webinar. So I'm not able to answer within the webinar itself because I would like to keep to the scope, but I would then ensure that people do come to know about it. So this is one of those video series connected to that. Some of the topics that came up were connected to risk management. People were asking questions about what is the meaning of the term proximity, urgency, and propinquity. yeah. Sounds like a tongue twister, but it's not. Propinquity, proximity, and urgency. So what are these terms? What do they really mean when we talk about risk management, particularly from the perspective of risk management? I'm going to start with the term proximity first. Proximity basically talks about a risk event, positive or negative, opportunity or threat really doesn't matter. A risk event is expected that it would happen sooner in the life cycle of the project. For example, you're right here in the beginning of the project and you're trying to identify all possible risk and also try to prioritize, right? One of the methods for prioritization is proximity, that how soon is this risk expected to happen in the life cycle of the project. So for example, you may think that this particular risk might happen during requirements gathering, this might happen towards construction, this might happen towards testing, this might happen towards handover, and so on. It's pretty obvious that a risk which is expected to happen towards the early phases of the project, like requirements, you would tend to focus more on it, and therefore your prioritization would get affected because of the proximity of the risk. That is the meaning of the term proximity. Proximity actually means how close. There is a soft skill concept called the proxemics, the science of proxemics, that how close you can stand next to somebody without making that other person feel uncomfortable, and it changes from culture to culture, but that's a different video altogether. So the derivative actually is from that concept, and therefore it means how close is the risk to you in the life cycle of the project, and that is the meaning of the term proximity. Clear? All right, let's move on to the next one, urgency. Now, a lot of people I've seen think that urgency means how soon it will happen. I mean, they confuse it with proximity. Urgency simply means that how soon would you have to respond to the risk or start the plan B activities once you come to know about a particular risk event that it is about to happen. So for example, if somebody is suffering from fever, yeah, well, it's okay. It's not a big issue. You can take a day, you can take a couple of days, and then you can respond to it. It's not that big a deal. But if you have sore throat, fever, cough, inability to speak, now those are signs of corona, which would mean that you cannot even waste a single minute. You would really have to get yourself tested as soon as you can. That is the urgency of the response, to figure out how, do you really suffer from the dreaded virus or not. So that is the meaning of the term urgency. How soon do you have to actually respond to the risk once you come to know that a risk is about to happen? That is the meaning of the term urgency. And then comes the term called propinquity. It's one of those words which actually brings ticklish feelings among people, propinquity. Well, propinquity actually has a very simple meaning. It means that one of your important stakeholders, probably your boss, probably your sponsor, probably your customer, who feels that a specific risk is more important than others. Now, you may not have prioritized that particular risk. Hell, you may not have even identified a certain risk, but this manager, this sponsor, or this customer, somebody really important in this particular project, a really important stakeholder, comes to you and says, I'm worried about this risk. Just by saying so, that risk becomes a high priority risk because of propinquity. That's it. So when you prioritize risk, you also have to figure out that which are the risks which have been suggested as important by important stakeholders, and that is called risk prioritization through propinquity. All right. I hope that explains you absolutely clearly the difference and the importance of the meaning of the terms propinquity, proximity, and urgency. You are listening to Maneesh Vijay. This is the video series called PM Ninja. Signing off now. Thank you for watching.